Hey everyone, Kyle with Andrew Hilton Wine and Spirits here to talk about beer tasting number 102. We are over the number 100 hump, and we are going to do a couple of our old favorites. I'm recording this right before beer tasting number 101, which is an annex tasting. We're going to dive right on into another of our good friends, the folks at Snake Lake out of Sylvan Lake. Now, we're not going to do any of their core beers. We're going to do a fresh run of seasonals that just hit the shelves. Now, bookending the tasting on either end, we've got a couple of IPAs. One is returning, and that's the Taco IPA, which is the one with flake maize, tortilla chips, sea salt, and lime. And then we also have the Stargazer, which is a lower alcohol New England pale. So this one's really, really cool, a little bit different. It's got some mosaic. It's going to be very, very pretty. In the middle, we again have a returning beer and a brand new beer. On one side, we have the Field Berry Crush. Now, this is their Wild Berry Sour. This did really, really well for us last year, and it is returning again. And then, much to my chagrin, I think I've managed to avoid it for 101 beer tastings. But here in beer tasting number 102, God help us, we're doing a Black IPA. Now we are going to have a guest. It's either going to be Adam or Amanda from Snake Lake will be joining us. But they are going to be here to talk us through their latest run of seasonals. All that and more, Wednesday, June 8th at 6 o'clock. I'll see you then.
That's great. Media boutique.
Hey everyone, Kyle with Andrew Hilton Wine and Spirits here to talk to you about some Snake Lake beers. These are the brand new 4 seasonals that we just got brought down. Well, just got brought down 2 weeks ago, so we'd actually, put this whole tasting together in time. I am joined by Amanda Gamble and Adam Knockbauer of Snake Lake Brewing, live from Sylvan Lake. Hi guys, thanks for joining us.
How's it going?
Oh, I am super stoked. There's 2 IPAs, a sour, a beer we won't talk about the style. We've got 3 styles I really, really like tonight. So for everybody at home, we are going to run through the beers in this order. We're going to start with the Stargazer, move on to the Taco, then Space Boots, the Pink Boots Brew, and then finally the Field Berry Crush. So 4 very different beers from each other, although the first 2 are, if not exactly the same style, they're certainly related. So let's jump into Stargazer, and Adam and Amanda, why don't you give us a little bit of kind of Snake Lake history and what you're about and kind of what's new since the last time we had you a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. So just to kick off while we're all trying this beer, this is the Stargazer Pale Ale, which is what we came out with last year and then recreated this year. Amazing New England style, hazy, citrusy. It's one of the things we're known for in the brewery community. Jesse's killing it with the beers. This is one of his recipes he came up with, created this from scratch, put it out on the market last year, and it went over awesome. So we brought it back this year, and really cool artwork on the can. I love the can on this beer. But this is like all of our beers start with a Pilsner base malt. So like we RAR, get all of our base malts from RAR, BSG out in Alex, Florida. We got a 40-foot grain tower full of this stuff. So this is the main base of this beer is the RAR Pilsner malt. And then we've got, there's wheat in here, a lot of wheat, and biscuit malt. And biscuit malt's like one of my favorites. I love grabbing biscuit malt and just eating it kind of in the mill room because it tastes like crackers. It's delicious. Awesome.
And you don't need a whole lot of it. Like, it's one of those specialty malts, a little goes a very long way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good old specialty. But anyway, so this is a cool beer, but also, the hops in this one, we got Mosaic in here, and we got Strata hops. Strata hops are kind of cool. They've got several different layers of fruit, is the way they're described. There's a lot of fruit that comes off the Strata themselves, and they kind of came out, I guess, bloomed, grew, matured in 2009. They kind of hit the market from Oregon, and they're a really cool hop to work with. And then combined them with the Mosaic, you get this really nice. Obviously, the aromas and flavors that come. Hops are incredible. And Mosaic, fun fact, which I just learned today actually, is actually the combination of a nugget male plant pollinating with a Simcoe female plant. You end up with a Mosaic. That's how that hop came to be. But anyways,
I love Simcoe, so yeah, I'm always about the Simcoe. It's an absolutely glorious hop.
Oh man, these beers they're amazing. And the aromas that come up, like I say, we dry hop everything crazy. All of our dry hopping is twice as much as it probably should be, but we get these amazing flavors and aromas that come off of it. And most people in the craft beer community, probably watching this right now too, understand what goes into making a New England style, or where that haze comes from, or the thought process that comes comes through to get that haze retention and to make that suspended like debris in there to be stable and sit that way on a shelf in a can for a month or two or whatever in a keg and not settle out, like to keep that nice haze. It's an art form. The water profiles are huge on it. But anyways, I just want to talk about the beer quick before we got into Snake Lake. But cheers, guys. I'm glad everybody's drinking with us tonight. This is fantastic. But Snake Lake, it's been a year or so we did this.
Yeah, about a year.
And yeah, things have come a long way. No more masks. We're so happy the world's returning back to normal. Yeah, we've been good. Been out and about visiting everybody that we haven't seen forever. And we actually, in the process of last fall, bought the building next. And then have built on inside there a full enclosure for a 4-hour firewall and built a distillery. So we've now got the land next to us as well. So we've got this cool little complex now where you can come to the brewery in the tap room. And then beside it, now we have a full distillery running as well. So it's really cool. And it's like a whole other project for us. And we're pretty excited about it.
Gee, Adam, do you have the tap room open? I can't tell.
They're also very excited about it.
They're clearly very excited about it. It does sound like you have a trampoline park going on, or like a 10th birthday party.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's that excited, but it is 5 minutes past 6. They need to go home.
Cool. They need to stay.
Our regulars are really fun.
Yeah.
No, the party is not in the store. The party is at Snake Lake. Which, yeah, now that the tap room is open, like, you folks have food. There's anything you like as long as it comes out of a deep fryer, it sounds like. You've got...
veggies.
Are they deep fried veggies?
Oh.
They can be.
If you want them.
We can do whatever you want. But it's, no, we just got like appies here. We got chicken wings and matzo sticks. We got spring rolls from another local restaurant in town that they make them all, and then we just cook them here. But yeah, we just have a small deep fryer. We got beer is why you come here, and we got food to kind of sustain you a little bit while you're here. But it's the restaurants in town, like if you come to visit, you plan on stopping in one of them and grabbing dinner there or lunch, whatever time of day you're here, because they'll have great beer on tap, I can assure you. But everyone's got awesome food in town, and there's so many cool places to visit. Like Sylvan's a great place to come check out. And if you have a chance to come see the tap room, it's beautiful. Like we have all timber frame. We've got a stage for live music in here. We've always got 10 to 12 beers on tap. We've got our craft lemonade, and now we've got our gin, our vodka. We've got our lemonade, like I was talking about, and non-alcoholic lemonade. So it's getting to be a pretty good place. We always have live music on Thursdays, every
other Thursday.
second Thursday, yeah. So we've always got live music, and the patio's open now, which is awesome.
Finally.
Sunshine. So yeah, it's good. Like Lake Town vibe, right? Like it's starting to pick up. We're getting more people. The fancy cars are back, and everyone's out in their boats. I'm like, yep, summer's kicking in.
Adam, your whole personality personifies guy who lives in a resort town on a lake 24/7, like so well.
That is true.
You're like an Alberta surf guy, which is not a thing I thought would ever exist, but hey, we have one.
Thank you, I think.
So I had some questions coming in. First one will be a technical one. You talked about like the difficulty of keeping the haze from settling out, both in cans and kegs. Do you know the chemistry behind that? How do you keep the haze hazy and not just a big plug of sediment at the bottom of the can?
Yeah.
And do you ever get it wrong?
There's a whole process that goes along with that, but the humongous part of it is the water. So the water profiles have a lot to do with that retention of the stability of the free in the liquid, basically. But also, too, when we go through, like, right from start to finish, all of our beer's unfiltered. Our spotless, like, clean Pilsner, it's unfiltered. But the IPA is, like, it's funny when we started, like, it was only, like, 4 years ago. Seems like a long time ago, but it was only, like, 4.5 years ago. But there wasn't as big of a craft beer industry then. Like, we were, I mean, a little late to the game compared to the guys like Lyman and Trouble Monk and stuff like that. But it was still really new to sit down and see a hazy beer, and I got over and over having to explain it to everybody that like it's supposed to be that way and it's not supposed to. It actually takes a lot of effort. But the water profiles are where we start with that. Obviously, the grain bill has a lot to do with the color, where that comes from, and then as you're putting in hops and the yeast character, like once you run it through the kettle. We put our hops in, and we do a lot of late edition hops. Being a lake town, we want chill beers. We whirl and that knocks a lot of that hop debris out. And then from there, once it goes into the tank, does its 21-day ferment, dry hop it in there, fill it, pack it full of that hops, and it builds up a lot of shrub at the bottom, but it's yeast sediment in there too. So it's a big combination between your temperatures of water profiles, your mash temp. There's a lot of different pieces that add up to make it so you can retain the stability. And I know Jesse could go into this a lot deeper than I could, but it's got it dialed to the point where we're seeing shelf life. Like we always save cans and we'll age them ourselves just to see because our Sidewinder moves really quickly, so we don't have a lot of buybacks on that beer. We don't see it get old very often, so we actually save it ourselves to see how it goes. And after even 6 months of it, it still has a really nice haze retention. There's not a buildup in the bottom. There's no sediment or anything like that. So it's just the time and effort that Jesse puts into everything produces these beers, and it's a big culmination of all the steps being done properly.
The next question before we switch beers here in a minute comes from Eric, and he's asking about consumer demand and how different it is to sell craft spirits versus craft beer. I've heard it described as two completely different worlds. Do you want to talk a little bit about like your early days in the distillation business and what consumer demand has been like, both within Sylvan Lake, because I think you folks have an incredible amount of local support, and then branching out into the broader Alberta market?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's completely different. It's not the same as beer at all. We didn't go into it thinking that it was going to be the same, I guess. Like we kind of knew that it was going to be a different animal altogether. We're still very beer focused. That's what we do. We make beer. We want to be a brewery. We want our brewery to grow. We want to keep producing for Alberta and keep stretching across this whole awesome province. But be able to offer something that's gluten-free, different than beer, because we get a lot of people that come in, sit down. It's year after year. It's the same thing. Sit down. Do you have anything else other than beer? No. You're in a brewery. Now I can say yes. So it's really cool because we've got like options. We can make Caesars. We can make Moscow Mules. We can make martinis. I learned how to make a martini. What else are we making here?
There's a couple specialty cocktails that they've made. Yeah, with fruity cocktails.
As far as in-house, it's awesome. Like it's so cool to be able to offer the different stuff that we're producing for now. And then on top of it, pretty nice to be able to drink some other stuff once in a while. That's kind of cool.
Occasionally.
But as far as stretching into the market, like into the Alberta market with spirits, it's tough. Sure, it's not like beer is like almost. I don't want to say anti like committal, but like beer's so easy. Right? Like a keg of beer it's a keg of beer. $230. Don't like it? Don't buy it next time. But like spirits, you get into that, it's a little higher price point. There's a little more that goes into it. It's a little more of a commitment when you buy it. If you're putting it on your liquor store shelf, like it just seems to be it's a completely different industry. So it's still the beverage hospitality world, but it is completely different. And the gin, I'm super excited to launch the gin. We're gonna launch it here right at the end of the week. We're just waiting on labels. They're supposed to be here today, and they're not. So now I have to wait till Friday, but we're going to get them labeled up. And I'm actually heading to Lethbridge on Saturday. I got to bring some stuff. So if I actually get those labels in, I'll give you a shout and let you know. I'll drop a bottle off for you to try.
That sounds great. I got to try some of the early run test samples, but I haven't had the real deal yet. So
nope, and this won't disappoint. But yeah, so like there is a big difference. It's a big difference in industry. It's like it doesn't seem as chill. Like the beer industry is pretty fun. It's pretty mellow. Everybody kind of gets along. You do your thing. I don't know. It seems like you're always on island time in the brewery world.
For you.
Okay, for me.
I can see who actually does the books and accounting and probably some of the payroll in Amanda. Yeah, no.
Oh, I don't do any of the books, but all of the sales reporting.
Yeah.
No, it's
just
good.
that end. But we need space too. The people.
But
no, like Kyle, you'd probably be able to have more insight into that. But it seems like selling a few flats of beer, it moves quickly. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but a case of gin per se, it takes more customers more commitment out of a larger range of choices, something that's quite similar.
I think that there's more big money in the spirits world in the sense that is there big money in beer? Absolutely. You look at InBev versus Miller Coors, Molson. They have way more money than even the largest distilling concerns like Diageo on earth. They are just bigger companies. But they don't play in this world. Like, there are a few times where like Molson's has tried to launch an IPA. I think their last attempt was like Molson 67 IPA, which completely misses the fucking point. They've never managed to penetrate the craft market successfully. I mean, Molson still has Granville Island for whatever that's worth, and Labatt's has a couple of, captive craft breweries for whatever that's worth, but they don't seem to capture enough of the market. They don't seem to have the cachet that the actual independents do. Whereas the spirit side, you look at, say, the premium gin category, and there's been big high-end brands like Tanqueray, Bombay, and then into some of the more established like super premiums. They've been fighting for shelf spaces since the 1970s, and it's been hyper competitive forever. Premium spirits is not a new thing. I mean, I think when, 4-packs of cool craft beer kind of came into the market, smaller breweries very much caught the big money sleeping. They basically walked in and ate their lunch, and they still haven't caught up. And I don't know if they ever will, because I find that the craft brewing with a new seasonal every week, a small brewery is much better equipped at that than a larger concern, because a larger concern, they just move too slowly. Whereas on the distilling side, if a company brings out a new gin for spring that they expect to sell out fairly quickly, it's a blip on the shelves. Whereas the rest of it, it's on the shelf 12 months of the year, and that's something that these bigger concerns are very, very good at and very familiar with. Well, you should have 3 listings of Tanqueray purely so that you don't put on something else that competes with it. And we're willing to pay you to have that. And we're willing to pay you to have it at eye level. So everything that's not Tanqueray isn't at eye level. It's a very different world, and it's a very competitive one in a completely different way. I have never taken money or even favors or gift cards or anything really, to actually put something on the shelf somewhere. I have, however, got agents coming in when I'm not supposed to be working and just physically changing my shelves and basically telling my part-time staff to shut up and it's pre-approved. I've certainly seen that. That particular company, I still think, is banned from the store, or at least they've stopped sending people after I caught them, and they still don't come back. But yeah, it's a very, very different world, and it's, rather than being fun and friendly and cool, and here's our new seasonal, and hey, did you hear we got fantastic, we want to do a collab about it, this is our gin, these are our shelf spots, if you try to take one, I'll take you out back and I'll cut you. Like, it's very dirty. The spirits world sucks. I'll preface it with this. Like, this is the new Annock 24 year. To get this 6-pack of Annock, which is very nice. It's a $200 bottle of scotch. It tastes great. It's not super limited or rare in any particular way. Like, Annock is still producing. They're still around. But to get that, I had to take a case of Old Pulteney 12, a case of Speyburn 10, and a case of the Annock 12, 2 of which were new listings for me, and the case of Annock 12, I had almost a full shelf already and didn't need an extra case, but it wasn't optional. I had to do that to get this. You don't see that in beer. In beer, it's like, hey, Adam, Amanda, we're cool. I want you new seasonal. I know it's not really supposed to be outside the brewery, but I want to do a tasting with. Just come on. And that's usually enough. It's never, well, if you want our new Stargazer, you must have taken, 5 flats of Kinnebic pills for each of the last 3 months. It's a very different world, and it's a very ugly world, and I don't enjoy... It's funny, spirits is what got me into the business. I was brought in to run the whiskey department when I moved into the store. And you know what? Wine is still friendly. Beer is still very friendly. Spirits is ugly, cutthroat, and shitty, and I hate it. All right, let's drink some beer then, shall we?
I'm so glad we are working on a distillery.
Yes, it doesn't even sound like so much fun. Congratulations, in inverted commas. Well.
Need a glass. Oh. Sorry. Yes.
Hey, Ben.
Down there.
Now, this is a beer that's returning from last year that we actually got. I don't think we got Stargazer last year. So this is the Taco IPA, a beer I very, very much liked last year and do like again this year. So this is with flaked maize, tortilla chips, sea salt, and lime zest, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Because I read it off the back of the can, so if it was wrong, you were wrong.
So, yeah, this is one. I come out with this for about 3 years now, three and a half years probably. It started.
I think it was.
The original reason. So this beer has no ground beef. It tastes like tacos. It's called the Taco IPA because of our original brewer that worked here. His name was Octavio. My business partner's daughter was one when we opened, and she could not pronounce Octavio, so she called him Taco. And we all instantly started calling him Taco. So that's how the name came to be. So IPA, that's why he's on the can. But this beer, it's a New England IPA, 6.6%, a wonderful flavor profile, especially finishing it off with the salt and lime zest in there. But it's got all the amazing New England style, that hop combination to give you the really wicked aroma, and it balances out really nicely with the salt and the lime in there. And you'll get, it's almost like having a New England IPA that's got like a little bit of ocean spray in your drink. Like you get that little bit of salt finish, just leaves you kind of wanting more. And very cool beer. We bring this back every year for Cinco de Mayo now, and it's one that'll be back.
It's one that's asked for absolutely constant.
Cheers.
Yeah. And Octavio has now left, correct?
Yeah, he left.
Has moved on.
All of 2020.
Yeah.
He's back in Vancouver. He's actually starting his own brewery down there, which is really cool. I can't wait to go drink his beer. So he left, and now Jesse Thompson, our head brewer here, and then we have an assistant brewer named Theron. And he, both those guys, incredible brewers, doing a great job making. You know what? I'm going to knock on wood right now, but we brewed. I think we're up to 447 batches of beer since we opened, and not once have we ever dumped a batch of beer. So pretty proud of those guys. They're doing it.
That's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Like we've never opened the valve and dumped a tank ever. So I tip my hat to those guys. They're doing an amazing job and kicking out incredible beers like this. And Taco IPA has become part of our brewery. Like we'll look forward to it every year. It's our Cinco de Mayo celebration.
How could you not with on the can?
I mean, it's and also I love the lime that immediately in my nose at least transitions into fresh mint. And I know there's no mint in it, but it's not like, XL gum mint. It's not fake peppermint. It's fresh out of the garden mint leaves. I love that smell. I love this beer. It's not. I actually think in a vacuum the Stargazer is a better IPA. But maybe it's just emotional attachment. I just really like the Taco IPA on its own merits. And I think it's the one I'd order, week after week after week until the kegs ran out. And then I'd be sad. And, then I'd find out you had a new Pilsner for summer. And then I'd be thrilled again. So.
No, it's a good one. I'm glad it keeps coming back to. It's refreshing. It's fun. It's getting to be really well known, I guess. Everybody knows it. So it's fantastic. And I mean, it's kind of funny to brew it and they chuck a mega tortilla chips in the mash. This is a novelty every time. Just, I don't know. It's a little bit of fun. Cool beer. And I'm really proud that these guys are still knocking it out of the park. Funny part, though, nice. We put it in so many different, awards, be judged. And we never won a thing for it. It's just, such a cool beer. I'm like, why the heck won't this beer win an award?
No. Put it in a weird category like spice, herb, vegetable, where if you've ever judged the spice, herb, vegetable category, God, I hate judging that category. Never again. This would immediately win because I go, thank God this doesn't suck. It's not a sweet potato sour. Oh my God, yes, something good.
That's a good call. All right, we'll just throw it in some weird categories.
Exactly. Craig asked the malt bill differences, and I know you're not the brewer, Adam and Amanda, that's Jesse, but malt bill differences between Stargazer and the Taco, other than the corn chips and the fact that this has higher alcohol?
Yeah, the flaked oats in this one, flaked corn, obviously, and then Munich malt. So this has got a Pilsner base, Munich malt, flaked oats, and then the corn. The corn's a big thing, right? I believe on the can it actually says maize. I think we wrote that on there. But
Lake tomato.
like maize, yeah. So like I guess once corn is removed from the plant, it's all corn, but while it's growing in the harvest, it's maize. So that's kind of where that comes from. But that's a big part of the flavor of this being different from the Stargazer is that corn, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's the main differences. Like the oats and the raw wheat and the flaked wheat, also with that biscuit malt and the Stargazer is what kind of gives that nice round mouthfeel. And this is a little more, well, this is a full IPA too. So you've got the higher alcohol value, a little bit of that bite. But those are the main differences for the grain bill on each.
And Tyler, you said this is one you're going to be buying more often. Well, we didn't quite sell the tasting out, so I have a couple of 4-packs to take apart, and then that's it for the Taco IPA. So if you want them, speak for them now, because there ain't much left.
Yeah,
I think there's like the equivalent of two and change 4-packs tops left. So the rest are all gone.
Right on. Awesome. Well, we'll have to get... We're actually got some other cool new stuff coming out here, too.
Yeah.
We'll keep you in the loop up to date as that's been coming out of the tank. We
All right.
released a new bottle last week, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Our raspberry honey golden sour, barrel-aged in Cab Sav and Merlot barrels. I believe this one was for 14 months with Brett at Brettanomyces.
That's ripping.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like the color looks so good. It pours beautiful in a glass. We got them all wax dipped, and those are out for sale now this week actually. But just
You know,
another
being
one.
at Snake Lake, I'm surprised they're not in 6-pack small cans.
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, so this is, I don't know if you can see that or not. This is
No, we can totally see that. That looks great.
yeah, came out pretty cool. Raspberry honey golden sour. They're 750 ml wine bottle. Same thing. It's a dinner beer. It's for sharing. It's not for sitting on the beach crushing. Like it's a connoisseur beer. There's a lot of time and effort that went into these. That whole other personality side of the brewery. So it's cool to be able to launch one of those here. And we haven't had one come out in a little while. Probably the anniversary.
Yeah.
Apparently, I have already like 2 people who want you to bring that down on Saturday, so we will be taking a case if you can.
Yeah,
I'll happily sit on it till release day.
No,
It's ready.
out.
You can
We're good to go.
sell it.
Perfect. Then we'll take a case. Yes, please.
Done.
Awesome.
Done. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Well, thank the comment section. Like they were right in there. So that's Craig. All right. Can't really put it off any longer. It's time for Black IPA.
Do it. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, I am not a fan of Black IPA. It's about the only beer style I don't like. I've managed to do this for 103 tastings now.
Yeah.
I've managed to avoid a Black IPA through 103 tastings, which is... Oh, did we do? Oh, this is 102. So I've managed 408 beers without a black... 407. Beer number 408 is our first Black IPA.
I'm very glad that we get to share this moment with you. Thank you.
And yeah, you know what?
It's really good.
I tasted this before we did this because I wanted to be prepared. I actually really like this. And that is the highest compliment I may have ever paid a beer on this channel before. This is a Black IPA. I will stop short of saying I would buy it because I don't think I would because I know me.
Principle.
And I'd be standing in front of my beer wall and be like, ooh, I could have Taco or Stargazer or Fieldberry or I could have Space Boots. And I'd be like, I don't want 4 Black IPAs, but I would order it if I was in the brewery. I would get a pint of it.
Oh, thank you.
I'll go that far.
Well, this is it's a West Coast IPA, black, so it's kind of deceiving. But it's a West Coast IPA, Cascade, Columbus, Amarillo hops in here. It's got that same Pilsner base, flaked oats, Munich, biscuit malt. Nice and dark, right? Like beautiful.
Okay, where's the darkness coming from? Are we talking roasted barley, black patent, debittered? Where are you getting the black?
I believe that would be from the roasted barley.
Roasted barley? Okay.
Can you get the roast in there? Now you got me second guessing myself.
Okay, so Eric asks, so what are Black IPAs trying to accomplish? What is the root goal? And what was the Black IPA that the two of you had that was like, you know what? We need to make a black IPA because I really love beer X.
Okay, here's exactly what happened. We needed the Pink Boots beer was coming up, so it was our Ladies' Day brew. And the girls actually of the brewery came up with this concept, brewed this beer. They put together the idea, the artwork, put the beer together with Jesse, packaged it all, and put it out. So that is a, you know how that conversation went? Why did you guys end up with a black IPA?
We wanted to do a beer that, as a brewery, we had never done before. We wanted to do something new for our group, so that we could try something that pushed the boundaries of the beer that the girls here drank a little bit. Black IPAs, for me, is a nice balance. With my husband, actually, for that, the background of that is I like dark beers. I like stouts and bitters and big body, heavy beers, and he likes really bitter IPAs. So one of our favorite beers together was the Blind Man Cascadian Ale, pale ale. But it was kind of that, but also a few options. Black IPA was the one that kind of came to the top because we wanted to work with a West Coast style. Because it was something we hadn't done in a while as a brewery, and a black IPA was brand new. So that was the one that got voted in.
Well, you know what? You absolutely nailed it. I've had Blind Man's Cascadian Dark Ale, and also on that exact topic, thank you for calling it a black IPA and not a Cascadian Dark Ale. I think CDA is a stupid term. Black IPA is better. I like the term. I know a lot of people don't because it's a Black India Pale Ale. I like black IPA better. I think it does what it says on the label more than Cascadian Dark Ale. It's a black beer that tastes like an IPA. Conversation over. What's a Cascadian Dark Ale? Well, it's this. It does what it says on the box. I like the term better. It's also the older term. But no, you know what? This is something I'm getting Tootsie Roll. When I first cracked the can, I was getting florals. I had some really nice spiciness from the hops. Do you lose some of the delicacy of the hops in the nose? Of course you do. The roastiness is going to cover up some of it. That's just endemic to the style. Is it quite as roasty and rich as a stout? No, but it's not a stout. It's a compromise, which is kind of at the root of why I don't usually like them. But in this case, the compromise kind of works, and or maybe I'm in a good mood.
Either way.
I'm not. I'm in a terrible, pissy mood all day, so the beer must be incredible.
Here. So fun fact, did you know beer is the only beverage on earth that can hold a head? That can retain a head on
Head
top
retention. Now, yeah, I'm trying to think. Like champagne doesn't worth anything. It disappears no matter what it is.
No, and like pop, all sorts of other, like all the carbonated, like fizzy beverages, coolers, nothing can. And the reason why is because proteins encapsulate CO2 bubbles as they're coming out of carbonation, like as they're coming out of the liquid. So when it pours, those bubbles all can't connect together and pop as one big bubble. So they stay as all small bubbles and make this beautiful head that we get on top of beer.
And if you're making a beer that doesn't have enough of that, you add a little bit of carafoam, which is, head retention cheating malt.
That's right. Or just, yeah. Yes, that.
that malt that somehow never shows up on the label, but wow, it has such a lovely head. Yeah, it does. No idea why. I guess we're just great brewers. Now, we had some questions here. Eric asks, what are the challenges of brewing a black IPA? Like, this is such a balancing act. Too much IPA and you won't get the roast. Too much roast and the hops will disappear. What are the challenges and how do you develop a recipe for this and nail it first time, a style you've never brewed before, in a really challenging style, and keep up your, I bet there's some pressure to our never dump the batch streak. So,
yep. So that's like, honestly, a lot of those answers would come way better from Jeff. But be honest, like
I was kind of asking Amanda because it's the Pink Boots brew. But yeah, thanks for jumping in,
to
Adam.
Answer those questions, but unfortunately, I missed brew day. I only got to can this beer, and be part of the concept of designing it. But it was a lot of pressure. I know that it was something that we talked about as a group quite a bit with how to develop that recipe. And having the West Coast profile was something that was that we discussed as being a more prevalent hop profile to give more of that hop character than something like in the New England styles we use that are a little tamer, a little more citrusy. We wanted something that had a little bit more of the punch from hops to balance out that maltiness from the roasted barley.
I think it turned out really, really well. We may never feature a black IPA again. I will certainly be avoiding it. But tonight we can say we have done one.
It's kind of all about balance. So with the flavors coming into it, what the grain, how much of that is going to affect the hop at the end, and just be able to balance those two flavors out, and then have the yeast act the way you want it to bring those flavors to fruition. It's pretty incredible, the foresight and the recipe development that our team has and the way they can put stuff together. And this wasn't even, did this even go through the pilot system? It was just right into the big system. We didn't even pilot this one. So he's got his head on right. He knows what he's doing, and he's a brewer. So.
And he had all the pressure from all the girls.
Yeah, that's
that too.
That's always a bad thing.
I'll also say that, like, you know, very often with these, you know, we're kind of taking little sips out of everything, and Aaron will have, you know, a lot, and I'll have a little, and, you know, there's still half a can left, and yes, there is some in, like, the colors, but, like, things are bloody empty, which is about as high, well, it's a little more in the taco, but there's really not much left in these two at all, which is high compliments, because we don't usually kill the cans during the tasting. We kill them after the tasting, but, you know, not during, because, you know, we have to at least be presentable and run the sound and everything else. Speaking of sound, for everybody at home, we are trying something new, and we haven't had any comments about it yet, so it can't be that bad, but you'll notice I'm not wearing an earpiece. We're actually piping the sound through the store's sound system, so if anyone's getting any echoiness or feedback, do let us know. It's obviously not bad because we haven't had a comment about it yet, but we are testing something new, which is me not having to have an earpiece, which I really like. It's way better for me. But if you're getting weird sound artifacts or echoiness at home, do let us know, because we probably should fix that. But this is nicer for me in the short term. Anyway, we're going to talk briefly about what we've got coming up next week, so do bear with us here for a moment. I'm just going to step over here. What we have coming up is a brewery called Microbrasserie Corsair. These folks are out of Lévis, Quebec, which is right across the river from Quebec City. They were founded in 2008, and they describe themselves as a pirate microbrewery. They do really, really cool English-style beers for the most part, because their head brewer, despite being in Quebec, Martin Valancourt, he actually spent his brewing apprenticeship in the UK, brewing things like English bitters, English-style IPAs, barley wines, all of that sort of thing. So his Lévisienne is actually a super traditional, like, English IPA, and then the, I think, hilariously named USS Vermont. Get it? Because it's New England. It's a New England IPA. Anyway, yeah, they have the at least Adam laughed. It's the USS Vermont New England IPA. That should be ripping cool. They also have a couple of different Haskip beers. So they have a dry hopped Haskip ale in the, I can never remember this one, the Sunny Drop. And then they also have the Queen Anne's Revenge, which is a wheat ale. Nice to have a wheat ale back, and then it's also flavored with raspberries, Haskips, and hibiscus flowers. Now, this is a brand new brewery for us, not a new brewery overall, founded in 2008, but it's new for us, and you know what? We're going to keep swinging for the fences. Sometimes we get the AleSmith tasting where everything's really expired despite just getting here and really messed up, and sometimes we find category 12, and it just takes off for us. So, we're swinging for the fences. Is Corsair going to be the next category 12? Or is it going to be the next AleSmith? We don't know yet, but we're going to find out next week. I have put feelers out for a guest. Haven't heard anything back yet. So, yeah, that's coming up next week. Are these in store already? The Corsair stuff is just available in the tasting. For these, I was actually out of a couple of these with building the tasting kits. When we take the tasting kits apart tomorrow, we will actually be having a few 4-packs of these left on the shelves. I think as I stand here, there's some Fieldberry Crush, pardon me, and some Stargazer left. We'd actually broken down all of the remaining Space Boots and Taco, but because we didn't completely sell it, we'll be putting a little bit back on the shelf for those. Speaking of the Fieldberry Crush, why you're not getting wicked echoes is we have the sound set reasonably low, and Aaron has like a fancy digital filter for background noise for my mic.
Some ding dongs.
Yeah, Aaron's got some stuff.
We got some stuff.
For all the shit I give Aaron live on the air and make fun of him, and you know, he's actually doing a hell of a job. So I think it's he's got this teched out.
Nice work, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, buds.
Hooray for Aaron, who drank the Black IPA sample for our color lineup. There is a little bit left, but bloody hell, not much. This thing's gone. This is not what I expected from Black IPA week. All right, which is not a real week. That is never going to happen. There will never be Black IPA theme week. If only because I can't really think of like 4 Black IPAs regularly in the market. Like,
we're gonna do a Black IPA flight for you next time.
okay, fine, Adam. Can you name 4 Black IPAs that are actually in the Alberta market? Because I can't. Like, regularly in the market? No.
Okay, let's pour this. This is a beautiful beer. I love the color of this one.
I had a pint of this on Sunday night, actually. I do love me some Fieldberry Crush.
Oh, yeah. We've had this one for a couple of years now as well. It's got that beautiful, beautiful color. So this is loaded. Like, so this is a kettle sour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Here, grab a little bit of this. Anyway, sorry, kettle sour. Brief how that works. I'm sure most of the viewers are completely confident on how sour works, but what we do is we brew it, mash it, goes into the kettle, then we pitch lactobacillus into the kettle, sits in there overnight, hold it at a certain temperature, and that bacteria just eats away at a lot of those starches and complex sugars that are in the kettle. What it does is that lactobacillus bacteria creates lactic acid. What that does is it gives you that tart, that sour that you feel in your mouth, like a very, very sour beer. Our beers are also very mildly sour. We don't over sour anything. We never make those beers that suck your mouth inside out. It's meant to be a flavor. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's delicate.
I don't know. I have some Edition 1 Sylvanas sour that's probably getting pretty aggressive by now, but...
Ooh, how old is that one? What number?
No, I think it's Sylvanas 1, and I have 2 bottles left somewhere. I think, we found them in a box that, like, we'd sold out, or we thought we'd sold out, and then I think they were in, like, a staff holds box for someone who quit, and we just found their, like, hideaway hidden stash box when we did year-end in March, and, yeah, we found some Sylvanas sour, like, batch 1 or something. Yeah. I imagine those are quite tart.
Yeah.
Prime.
That's, like, that'll be 3 years and 5 months probably in that bottle now. Those are mint. Like, it would be the perfect time to drink those, for sure.
Chris asks, what is SRM purple? That's a joke. SRM is it's a mathematical way of codifying color. It's usually a decimal number that tells you how light or dark the beer is. The joke is that this beer is electric purple, so the SRM doesn't matter. But I think you put SRM on all your cans?
Yes.
So you couldn't just leave it blank?
What's that, sorry?
So you couldn't just leave it blank. You had to list something.
And it's fun to say purple.
It is.
Kind of a fun
it's
word.
It's the most fun color name to say.
That's right. There's a guy at a liquor store. Actually, here's a funny story for you. I don't know if this is or not, but he's a friend of mine, and I talk to him all the time. But he's got a really deep accent, and I don't actually quite know where he's from. But he's a big guy, like ponytail, like very, very thick, probably like, I don't know, 6'6". 275 pounds, like big dude. And he talks all deep about this accent, and I so like me and my friend Rob, we have this joke going, like trying to go into this liquor store and getting Gert to say purple because he'll be like purple, and so like we're trying to build each other up to be like, hey, go get him to say purple. You should get him to say purple. Well, we haven't got it. Just picking dough.
One of these days. One of these days.
Words with Gert. But anyways, this is chock full of raspberries and blueberries. Fruit prices, like everything else in the world, has gone through the roof lately, so the beer became extremely expensive to make. Very awesome beer to have on the lineup, though. We're proud of it. We will keep making it all summer, but the price went up on it substantially. Even taking 2 days to brew it with the kettle sour, and then on top of it, all the fruit additions. It changed where we can basically price it in the market, and that's why like can prices have gone up on this, and it's just strictly the fruit. But everything we do is real fruit. It's always real fruit puree. We never use extracts. Everything you're getting is like real flavor, real color. It's craft, right? Like that's what you want to go after. And sometimes you got to pay a little bit more for that on our end and on the.
No, there was a brewery who I won't say because the agent is a friend, but they were going to make a peach Hefeweizen for the summer as their summer seasonal, and they made a batch, and then they got basically informed by their head office that they weren't going to make it anymore after all of the agents had sold it in as a summer seasonal at accounts all across Alberta, and basically the agents and stores like us basically were like, you can't do that. Like, suck it up, raise the price, do what you have to do, but you have to keep making this because it's sold in all across the province. Yep. Yeah, it was a very sudden shift, and it made a lot of people angry, and the brewery backed down almost immediately. So, it was interesting. But yeah, fruit puree prices are like absolute insanity right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. We weren't even going to do a fruit all summer because we like costed it out. We're like, no one's going to buy it. Like, and we got a 35-pack brew house. Like, we're not big, but we can make a large amount of beer at a time. And even doing it that, like, efficiencies that we can gain, it was still like pretty high price for what we're normally used to selling seasonals for. But we weren't comfortable with it. And then we ended up putting this one out, and I'm glad we did because it's still being very well received. It just like, I feel like it's expensive because we've always had a certain threshold where our seasonals hit, and that's what we sell for, and try to maintain that for our customers, right? Like they expect that, but sometimes you just can't with the ingredients. Now that fruit is gold, I'm gonna invest in fruit. Damn it, missed opportunity.
Yep, apparently it wasn't gold, it wasn't Bitcoin, it was fruit puree. And that was the next Bitcoin, apparently.
No,
Chris just add a piece of toast to this, and you got a nice little breakfast treat. You're not wrong. Like, this is lovely. Something that almost, and again, it's the exact wrong season for it, but I've actually been playing around a little bit with beers that are a little nicer warmed, like taking a slow cooker and basically creating a warm water bath, and then taking this and basically pouring it into a glass or a mug hot with like a cinnamon stick and some cranberries and like maybe a star anise star and just floating it on top. This would actually be like a very lovely mulled beer sour for like the holidays. Now, I don't know how this would hold up after 6 months. Your research might tell us how it would, but probably brewed at the wrong time of year for that. But this would actually be lovely as like a hot mulled beer. And I think kettle sours, to a point, and you can feel free to call me insane, and I've drank too much Snake Lake tonight, whatever. You could say, hey, Kyle, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I do think the kettle sours actually hold up really, really well to being served warm.
I will give that a shot. I've never tried it.
We did a mulled beer here at the tap room as a cocktail special last winter for Christmas. I don't recall if it was this one in particular, but it was a sour.
Okay.
So
well,
I think
I'm slightly encouraged in my insane ideas then. Good. How did it turn out, and how was it received? Like, did you like it, and did people like it?
It was a short-lived special, I think, just because of our support for it. But I think it was reasonably well received. I don't remember trying it, but I'm going to drink a beer. Usually I just want to drink a beer. I'm not too worried about a beer cocktail. Save cocktails for the harder stuff.
That's fair. So I'm just going to turn that around. Like, in terms of your distilling program, we've talked about a gin, we've talked about a vodka. We're going to see like Snake Lake brandy, Snake Lake whiskey, Snake Lake rum. So far, what are the, in terms of what you can talk about, how ambitious is the program? Like, are we going to be seeing Snake Lake grappa this summer?
So the distillery itself is called Sylvan Craft Spirits. So it's got its own identity.
And I'm sure nobody is going to just totally refer to as Snake Lake Spirits.
No, just like, so if you see it on a shelf, it's not going to.
Fair enough.
It's ours. But yeah, so like the gin and the vodka were the big part. Then we're going to do some favorite vodkas because we have lots of requests for that. Just for doing like spicy deals. Like vodka's the biggest mover. It's insane like how many are out there, but it is the biggest volume mover of any spirit. Like for every mixed drink, damn near like that you can think of, like Caesars go so well. Like there's so many things that vodka's used in restaurants, like as far as the wells go. So doing those flavors for that are some we want to kind of go after. We've had a lot of requests put in, so once we can produce something, there'll already be sales for it. The gin, on the other hand, gin's got a lot of options too. But then after that, once we get our kind of everything finally rolling, we'll have our labels, we'll have it out and produced and our inventory stocked up. Then we can start looking. Like the still we bought is so cool. It's called a Genio. It's from Poland, and it's a 250 liter still. Very, very automated. It's got a motor on top that we can run rakes inside, just like a mash tun. So we can do a grain base if we wanted to, and basically with that still run it as a whiskey, which is super cool because we have room now. We've building, so we've got space if we ever wanted to put some barrel racks in and start doing barrels of whiskey. We have the full potential to do it. So once we get our feet under us here and figure out what we're doing and get our hard lemonade out, that's another big one, our vodka lemonade. So Easy Vodka is the brand of vodka we're making. It's well vodka. It's in plastic bottles. It's like $28 for what, at 1.14? Yeah, so like $19.50 for a 2.6 of it. Like it's well priced for wells. I should well priced as well. Price for wells. But we're doing that as like a way to work with restaurants, and we've got a lot of restaurant partners throughout the province. So it's a way to work with them to start converting wells from big names. Like there's so many. It's like the macro beer versus the craft beer. Now we've got the same thing going on with these macro distilleries versus the craft distilleries. Why wouldn't a restaurant in Alberta have their wells in Alberta vodka? Our vodka it's incredible. It tastes good. The aroma is spot on. Like can't be fooled by the fact that it's in a plastic jug. It's a craft vodka that we're doing here with our full reverse osmosis plant. And another, actually, now that we're on this topic of vodka, just to put a whole nother like conversation to rest that I hear from a lot of people is the whole NGS conversation. So we have a still. We can make NGS, which is how you have to start to make alcohol. So you basically run your grain or whatever you're starting with, ferment it, and then you run it through the still to get it up to about a 96.5%.
Okay, Adam, I know what NGS is, but let's maybe just talk a little less shop and like tell people what NGS is and what we're going for here.
Oh, okay. Neutral grain spirit. Anyways, you can make that, but the amount of dude, I get caught up in it.
Neutral grains.
I know you do, and it's great, but sometimes I have to like slow it down for people. This is exactly why people show up. They want to hear this, but sometimes we have to like do a little bit of explaining. Yep, go ahead.
Anyways, basically, you take your base, you ferment it to a 10% or whatever it is, run it through your still. It comes out at 96.5% ish. That's neutral grain spirit. 96.5% alcohol. It's dangerous. Static sparkle, light it, but that is how you start. And then you take that, blend it down. We use reverse osmosis water to get it to 40%. However, it takes so much energy and water for us to do that with our little still that we can actually outsource our NGS. So we buy it, and then we do the rest of basically making the vodka here. We can do it, but we don't because the energy input, it's not even like
it's not
feasible.
environmentally
It doesn't make any sense, the amount of water and power we need to do it. So when you can just buy that product and start from there and then create your flavor profiles. So that's like, we start with an NGS product. It's not one that we create though.
And let's be fair. In a 40% vodka, 60% of the actual liquid is the water, and 99% of the flavor is the water profile. I mean,
Exactly.
medical grade alcohol tastes like medical grade alcohol. It's not a flavorful thing, at least not in a positive way. You need something that, and again, I will freely admit that different spirits taste different ways. If you're using like super top end single malt barley that's grown organically in Scotland, it definitely tastes different. I'm fully on board with really good grain gives you really good results. But in a vodka, almost too much grain profile can be a bad thing, and the rest of the profile is all in the water. So if you're controlling the water profile, you really are controlling the flavor profile for the spirit.
And we put another full reverse osmosis plant into the distillery. It's exactly the same as what we have in the brewery. So we can start from scratch to build those waters. But it's just like we get a lot throughout the industry of people that don't maybe fully understand what goes into it, thinking they're like, oh, you're just buying your NGS and blending it. Like, well, yeah, that's what we're doing, but this is why, because it's like environmentally irresponsible for us not to at this point, because how much effort it would take for us to produce that out of our little still. So it's the step we took, but it also helps us keep that cost down. We can work with wells. Now, where I was going with this long rant is we've got craft beer working with all these awesome Alberta restaurants, also all these awesome Alberta liquor stores, and now with the wells being taken over by all the big macro distilleries, now there's an option we can do for a very, very competitive price with all of them to work with those wells and change the wells. Now we're not just doing the beer taps. We can also work with, like, why wouldn't an Alberta restaurant want to have or not want to have an Alberta well?
Yep.
You can hand deliver it. I can say hi and shake your hand. Like it's still that customer service. It's a small province, like very tight, close-knit community. We can bring the craft beer world industry to the spirits world. We just gotta like give it a chance. So I think I'm gonna work.
I love that you're trying to do that, because it's the only way it's gonna work. Is you need that relationship, because spirits is so deeply impersonal. I love that you're trying to craft beer, craft spirits, and that's honestly the best thing I've heard about spirits in a long time.
Well,
spirits is such a dark business.
Well, hopefully we can tailor it a little bit to make it a little more fun, maybe. I don't know.
The comment section has shifted to Adam's hat, by the way.
My hat?
Yeah, is that a Gulls hat?
There is.
So we had some people asking, like, are you gonna do like a collab with the Gulls for like a Gulls beer?
We did actually. Grab a can. Yeah, Amanda's gonna grab a can here. We did one for this whole season. We've got the Gulls. It's a Lady May lager, but it's the Gulls artwork on there, and there's actually a picture of the whole stadium. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of the stadium or whatever, but we built a beautiful stadium up here last year. The year before? Last year was our first season, but here's the can. I don't know if you can see that or not. Pretty bright. But yeah, anyways. Yes, we did do a collaboration with them. And it's pretty fun going into the stadium now and like grabbing a pint of our beer and hanging out, watching the ball game. Blanchard Tribe has got their Caesar bar set up, so they got all sorts of different cool Caesars there. It's a cool environment. But yes, we did a collaboration.
Some bad things are happening, entirely related to Aaron, regarding the color comparison cups. I think the highest compliment I can say about tonight's tasting is that the color comparison cups are in danger, which normally they are not.
Well, thanks, man. I'm glad we did this. It's been a while.
It has been a little too long, but thank you so much for joining us, you two. We will talk to you folks, as soon as this Saturday. Maybe I'll see you around when you come down. Send me an email tomorrow, and we'll see if we can meet up for a beer while you're around.
Sounds good, man.
Cool. Take care, you two. Thank you again
Kyle,
so much for doing
everyone.
this.
Bye.
Have a good night.
See you, dudes.
All right, and that was Amanda Gamble and Adam Nackbauer from Snake Lake. Always good friends of the store. Always so glad they joined us. Maybe they also really had to peek because they're now off camera. But yes, this has been our beer tasting number 102. The tasting where I did a Black IPA, and I didn't hate it. You know what? If there's any great lesson to take away from this, it's that I'm often wrong. Can we edit that out? Anyway, that's about it. We're editing that out later, though.
Okay.
At least for YouTube. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.